You say you want more clarity, more confidence, more money, more meaning, more peace. But if we're being honest, brutally honest, you don't really want it. Not the way a starving man wants food, not the way a drowning man wants air. You want it the way you want abs without giving up sugar, the way you want focus while scrolling TikTok at midnight, the way you want peace while still clinging to drama. See, the hardest thing about desire is that we lie to ourselves about it. We decorate our distractions and call them priorities. We make excuses sound like logic, and we say things like, maybe the timing isn't right. I just need more motivation. One day I'll get serious. But let me say something, and hear this with the respect it deserves. You don't have what you want because you haven't become the person who deserves it yet. Not because you're broken, not because life is unfair, but because you've outsourced your hunger. You've let comfort sedate your ambition. You've mistaken potential for progress, and that's dangerous, because time doesn't pause while you hesitate. It keeps moving. And so does everyone else who's chasing what you say you want. So before we go deeper, ask yourself this. Do I want the fantasy of the life I say I want? Or do I want the reality? The blood, sweat, silence, rejection, and relentless repetition that it actually takes? Because this video isn't for your ego, it's for your soul. And your soul doesn't care how it sounds. It only cares what's true. Let's talk about it. Inside you, there are two versions of yourself. One is hungry, focused, powerful. The other is soft, lazy, forgettable. And every single day, they're at war. Not with weapons, but with choices, simple ones. Like whether you snooze your alarm or rise early, whether you scroll or study, whether you speak truth or hide behind comfort. The tragedy. Most people never realize who's winning, because the soft self whispers in your own voice, and it sounds reasonable, safe, modern. Take a break. You've worked hard. You can start tomorrow. No one's watching anyway. But that version of you, the one built on comfort, convenience, and excuses, it's not harmless, it's corrosive, and it kills dreams in silence. Not with a bang, but with a sigh. Because you don't lose your potential in one dramatic moment. You lose it in the tiny negotiations you make with mediocrity. The promises you break to yourself, the discipline you delay for motivation. But there's good news. You can starve that weaker self and feed the stronger one. One decision at a time, 1 hour at a time, one rep, one page, one hard choice at a time. And when you do, you stop being the victim of your desires and start becoming the architect of your life. Not someday, now. Because the war is happening whether you admit it or not, and your habits are voting every single day. World told you, you can be anything. You're already enough. Just believe and it'll come. But what it didn't tell you is that belief without action is delusion, that potential without pain is wasted, that dreaming without discipline is spiritual sedation. You've been told to manifest, but not how to master yourself. You've been told to trust the universe, but not how to trust your own spine. And so you wait, you journal, you daydream, you affirm, but deep down you feel it, that something's still missing, that your soul's trying to tell you something you're scared to hear. It's this: you're not behind because of fate. You're behind because you've tolerated too many half versions of yourself. You've chased comfort more than clarity. You've fed distraction more than discipline. You've treated your life like there's unlimited time. But listen, that ends now. This video isn't here to shame you. It's here to wake you, to remind you that the cost of your dream is paid in advance, with silence, sweat, and self-control. So before we dive deeper, if this is already hitting you where it matters, if it's stirring something deep, something raw, something real, then don't let it stop here. Subscribe, because this channel is a weapon, a sharpened blade for the disciplined few. And we're only just getting started. All right, back to it. Most people don't fail, they linger in a purgatory called trying. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to wake up earlier. I'm trying to cut distractions. But trying is a word you hide behind. It sounds noble, but it's vague, slippery, safe. Because as long as you're trying, you're not accountable, you're not measuring, you're not committing to the pain of results. Trying is effort without edge, motion without momentum, desire without demand. Real growth doesn't happen when you try. It happens when you decide, when you say, no more, when you burn the option to retreat, when you set the standard so high it feels ridiculous, and then live up to it. You're not here to try discipline. You're here to become disciplined, to install it so deep in your identity that laziness becomes unnatural, and excuses feel like poison. Because the gap between who you are and who you could be, it's not filled with talent. It's not even filled with time. It's filled with tiny decisions that prove who's in control. You, or the weaker voice in your head. The one that says, be realistic. Don't go too hard. Take it easy today. Kill that voice. Not with anger, but with action. Because when your actions are loud, your doubts get drowned. And that's when you start to become dangerous. The real reason you haven't gotten what you want. It's not because you're unlucky. It's not because life is unfair. It's not even because you lack the skill or the time. It's because of one thing. You've built a life that protects your comfort, not one that multiplies your growth. Let that sink in. Your routines are designed to avoid pain. Your environment is curated to feel safe. Your goals are filtered through fear, and your decisions are made to dodge discomfort. That's not ambition. That's self-preservation dressed in productivity. See, wanting more while living like less is a contradiction. You can't crave excellence and still cling to convenience. You can't expect a powerful life while protecting a powerless lifestyle. And deep down, you know this. You feel the pull, that sacred friction between where you are and where you could be. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The life you want doesn't come to the current version of you. It comes to the forged version, the one built through sacrifice, silence, and soul work. Until you kill the identity that craves ease, you'll keep repeating the same patterns. You'll keep building shallow habits. You'll keep watching others rise while telling yourself, maybe next month, maybe next year, maybe when I'm more ready. You're not waiting for the right time. You're avoiding the necessary death. The death of who you are, so you can make space for who you're meant to be. And that death, it's not easy, but it's holy. It's sacred. It's the beginning of real power. And without it, you'll stay trapped in this cycle of almosts and maybes. Instead of stepping into the life you know is yours to claim, there's a space you enter the moment you decide to change. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagrammable, but it's necessary. It's called the friction zone. And it's the most dangerous place a man can be because it's where your old self starts screaming, not with words, but with cravings, distractions, doubts, and delays. The moment you start waking earlier, your mind reminds you how tired you are. The moment you quit the junk, you feel irritable and deprived. The moment you chase your potential, you suddenly don't feel like it. That's not coincidence. That's resistance. That's your lesser self, fighting like hell to survive. Because progress is war, and every level of your life will demand a new identity. But your current self won't go down without a fight. This is where most people retreat. They interpret friction as failure. They say, this isn't working, or worse, I guess this just isn't for me. But if you can stay, if you can sit in the tension, outlast the noise, ignore the craving. For ease, you start building something sacred. You build resilience, and not the fake kind people post quotes about. I'm talking real, scarred, earned resilience. The kind that rewires your nervous system, that makes your body crave discipline, that makes self-control feel like alignment, not punishment. The friction zone is where weak men die, and strong men are born. It's where comfort is traded for character, and where your next level self gets installed. The man who trains in discomfort rules in chaos. We live in a world obsessed with comfort, temperature control, next-day delivery, instant gratification at the tap of a screen. But the Stoic trains for a different game, one where luxury is weakness, And ease is the enemy of growth. So he wakes when it's cold. He works when it's boring. He lifts when he's tired. He says no when pleasure is one yes away. Not to prove something, but to become something. Every hard thing he chooses becomes a reminder. I am not a slave to comfort. I am not held hostage by cravings. I choose what's hard because it sharpens me. Marcus Aurelius didn't build his mind by chasing motivation. He built it by doing the thing anyway, by rising above his feelings and planting his identity in discipline. You don't need another routine. You need a reason. You need to want strength more than softness, power more than pity, mastery more than momentary pleasure, because everything you want, the clarity, the control, the confidence, it's waiting for you on the other side of discomfort you've been avoiding. And the truth is, if your environment is too soft, your mind will be too. If your habits are too convenient, your soul will shrink. So pick the hard path. Do what others avoid, not because it's trendy, but because it's transformational. That's what Stoicism is. Not a philosophy to read, but a fire you walk through until you come out forged, focused. Let's stop pretending. You don't get the life you wish for. You don't get the results you write down in journals. You get the life that matches your standards. Not your goals, your standards. Everyone wants more, but not everyone will demand more of themselves. That's the hidden line, the one most people never cross. The reason you haven't gotten what you want. It's not because you're unlucky. It's not because you're broken. It's not even because you're not trying. It's because deep down, you haven't become the person who demands it yet. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by leveling up who you are, by aligning your actions with a deeper truth. This is who I am now. And people like me don't miss workouts. People like me don't snooze alarms. People like me don't scroll for hours. People like me move with purpose, act with courage, live with intensity. You don't become disciplined by watching more videos. You become disciplined by doing what disciplined people do, until it becomes impossible to see yourself any other way. Change is less about steps, more about self-image. Raise the standard, live in alignment, and the life you want won't feel like a fantasy anymore. It'll feel like maintenance, because you've built the system, you've become the man, and now that life is simply the byproduct. If this is hitting you hard, and you want more like it, subscribe. This isn't just motivation. This is a manual for building the life most men only dream about. You were never meant to chase shadows, never meant to wake up tired of your own life. You were built for fire, for stillness, for power held in silence. Remember what we said, that wanting isn't enough. That hope without backbone is just a slower kind of death. Go back to the moment when you stopped settling, back to the second you realized your goals weren't the problem. Your identity was. You don't fix your life by adding more. You fix it by subtracting what's keeping you soft. The late nights that steal your mornings, the comfort that numbs your edge, the fear that keeps your mouth shut when your soul is screaming, the endless scrolling that wastes your one precious mind. You don't rise by motivation. You rise by rhythm, by values, by decisions made in private that echo in public. This is about reclaiming yourself. The you that shows up even when no one is watching. The you that stands taller after a loss. The you that says, I am not done, even when everything hurts. I train my body so my mind obeys. I train my mind so my body obeys. I choose structure over chaos, effort over ease, responsibility over resentment. This isn't theory. It's a vow, a remembering, a return. Because if you can wake up tomorrow and act like the man you say you want to become, then tomorrow isn't a mystery anymore. It's yours, fully. And this time, you don't sabotage it. You earn it. Look in the mirror, not at your face, but into your habits, into the rhythm of your days, the patterns you excuse, the compromises you normalize. Now ask yourself, are you becoming someone your future self would thank you for? Or someone they'd have to recover from? See, Marcus Aurelius said, you don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you. Things themselves don't hurt you. Your interpretation does. What does this mean for a man like you right now? It means your pain isn't always from the world. It's from your reaction to the world, from wanting it to be easier instead of you becoming stronger. You want the life, but you resist the death of your old self, and that resistance, that's what keeps you stuck. You don't suffer because you're weak. You suffer because you refuse to let go of who you used to be. The guy who needed motivation to move. The guy who needed validation to feel worthy. The guy who thought he had time, but you don't have time. You have now, just this breath, this moment, this hour, and the way you treat this hour is how you'll treat your life. So here's your Stoic mirror. When you crave ease, choose effort. When you crave noise, choose stillness. When you crave validation, choose solitude. When you crave escape, choose presence. That's what it means to be disciplined, not robotic, not emotionless, but principled, aligned, and deeply aware that every action is a vote for who you are becoming. This isn't about fixing your life someday. It's about owning it today, right now, before the next distraction, before your old self kicks in again, before this fire cools off. Own it. Reclaim it. Live like you mean it. Let's come back to the beginning, to that aching question in the back of your mind. Why don't I have what I want yet? It's not because you're cursed, not because you're unlucky, not because you don't deserve it. It's because you've been waiting for change to feel right, waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect motivation, the perfect Monday, as if alignment precedes action, as if the stars will shift for your convenience. But Epictetus warned us. First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. You don't get clarity and then move. You move, and clarity follows. You don't get confidence and then take action. You act, and confidence becomes the residue of movement. Let's call back the truths. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your routines. You don't become who you wish to be. You become what you repeatedly do. Remember earlier? That ache? That yearning? It wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. It was your soul knocking, saying, there's more to you, but you have to earn it. So here's the uncomfortable truth. If you keep living the way you've lived, you'll keep getting what you've gotten, and deep down, you already know that. So today becomes the pivot, not because I said something new, but because you finally listened to what you've always known. This isn't inspiration. This is confrontation with your patterns, with your fears, with your excuses. And now the question becomes, what are you going to do with it? Take a moment, breathe, and get ready. If you've made it this far, you're not just consuming, you're confronting. Most people tap out before the mirror gets too honest. But you stayed, which means part of you is ready. Ready to stop lying to yourself. Ready to stop calling procrastination patience. Ready to stop naming fear as strategy. So now, there's only one thing left. A vow. Not to me. Not to this video, but to yourself. The version of you that's been buried under convenience. The one who's watched quietly as the days slip away. The one who's tired of surviving and finally ready to build. Here's the vow. I will no longer wait to feel ready. I will act because it's time. Simple, but dangerous, because if you say this and mean it, your excuses begin to die, and when your excuses die, your old self dies with it. Say it again. Whisper it if you must. I will no longer wait to feel ready. I will act because it's time. This vow is not magic. It won't make tomorrow easier, but it will make you stronger. It's a contract you carry, quietly, daily, relentlessly, and every time you're tempted to slip back into numbness, you'll remember, comfort never gave you peace. Only movement did. Only the mission did. Only discipline did. Now, you're not just watching videos on self-mastery. You're becoming the kind of person who lives it. And that's rare. That's real. That's stoic. You didn't need this video to tell you. Not really. You've always known the truth, felt it in the quiet hours, heard it whisper when you turned the lights off. That tug in your chest when you scroll past men doing what you know you should be doing. That subtle ache when the day ends and nothing meaningful was done. That haunting sense that your potential is waiting and you're late. Every day, you're late. But here's the grace in all of this. Even now, even here, you can still return to yourself. You're not broken, just buried, not behind, just distracted, not weak, just untrained. The fire is still in you, and the path is still open, but you must walk it, even when it's cold, even when no one's watching, even when the progress is invisible to everyone but you, because that's what makes a man magnetic. Not his looks, not his wealth, not his voice, but the quiet integrity of someone who shows up anyway. So, sit with yourself tonight. Write the vow down. Repeat it. Let it echo through your habits, your morning, your discipline. Let it turn discomfort into ritual and resistance into rhythm. And if this moved you, not entertained, but moved, then subscribe. Not for me, but so this whisper stays close, so this truth keeps finding you, even on the days you forget it. You don't need more motivation. You need fewer distractions. You need to become the kind of man who doesn't scroll past messages like this and do nothing. So here we are, not at the end, but at the invitation. The work begins now. The man begins now. You begin now.